Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Picho Nazo in the 3-minute pool on ICC. Open with knight f3 against him. What are we going to have? e6, g6, c5, b6. One of the moves I didn't mention. Okay, so usually they play e6 now. They could also have played g6 if they wanted. I'll play knight c3. And then if they castle, probably rook e1. So I'm holding off on playing d4. He plays d5 himself. Let's take. Takes with the knight. All right, so I could play e4 if I want. They take on c3. Let's go down that road, yeah. Let's play e4. Then typically c5 will be played to gain some space, and we have this exchange. He develops the knight through c6. Okay, so now I can play d5. I can also try to assign this bishop to a square. d5 is probably premature. I just have a feeling in my bones that it is. If bishop f4, what am I doing against bishop f6? Seems awkward to defend the pawn. If d5, take, knight b4, yeah, this pawn is looking kind of like a goner. I could play d5, take, and then e5. It's a typical idea to play past the pawn. That somehow doesn't seem right, though. Okay, I'm going to play bishop b2. I'm a little leery about knight a5 to c4. But if knight a5, I might play d5. Okay, so now this move. Rook c1 would be standard. Let's do that. Rook c8, yep. So now if bishop a3, rook e8, d5. Not sure about that line. Meanwhile, I don't want to burn up too much time. Okay, we're just going to gain some space. I wonder if that... Could they take on d4 now? They might be able to. Take d4. Yeah, I saw that tactic a little bit too late. Does it work, though? So bishop takes, rook takes c1 is the thing. Queen takes, bishop takes. At the end, I can get into c7 with my queen. I can also play rook takes c8. They take on f3. I take with the queen. They take with the bishop. I see something in that line. Let's do that. Okay, so we take here.
Check.
Let's pre-move that. So if bishop takes c8, I have this move. And if queen e7, I have e5. That's what I'm thinking. I also have bishop a3, but e5 is even more straightforward. Okay, now maybe bishop a3. Yeah. And my queen guards d1, so there's no trouble there. And I'm hitting both the bishop and the rook. I don't have much time, but this is looking pretty much winning. Okay, let's take the rook first. Really? Okay, well, this is simple enough. I can play bishop a6. And you just resign. Okay, yeah, black's down a decisive amount of material, and even with 30 seconds left, I think I can win this. All right, let's have a look. So knight takes d4. I got kind of worried when I had played my move and I immediately saw he could do that, but it might not be a good move. It may just fail tactically. So bishop g2, he plays e6. g6 is also possible. c5 is possible. These are flexible positions. There's no direct clash of pawns in the center, so both sides have a wide degree of possibilities. So bishop e7, I went knight c3, castle, rook e1. So d5 is a pretty direct way to play in the center. They could also play knight e4 and look to trade a pair of knights. I've encountered that move before. Knight takes, bishop takes, d3, bishop b7, e4, and then c5. And after d4, we have sort of like a Maraxi hedgehog setup. He prefers d5. I take. He takes with the knight. e4. I wonder if I should go d4 first. I'm just going to flick on the engine right now. e4 seemed like the move, but he played pretty straightforward chess in the center, and I didn't really get any advantage. take, knight c6. Because I've been in positions like this before with the bishop on c4, the light square bishop, where white is not fianchettoed. And the goal is usually to push through d5. Like, if you can't make use of the d-pawn, then black tends to be okay. Like, they actually have a pretty good pawn structure. It's nice and compact. And white has a weak a-pawn, we always have to remember, and a weak c4 square. So I'll have to check my theory on this, but I'm wondering if d4 right away is a better move. I don't know. They could still play c5 or knight takes c3 first. Because as played, I didn't get much. d4, we swap pawns, knight c6. So if I play d5 immediately, let's see, pawn takes, pawn takes, knight b4. What do I do about this guy? I'd love to be able to play like knight e5 and sink a knight into c6, but I just don't have time. They're just winning this pawn. Unless there's some tactic with knight c6 coming, but it doesn't look like it. If it takes, take with a queen. Very important. They wouldn't want to take with a knight because of knight c6. Now, typical idea, well, this is bad for black for a couple reasons, but say queen here. I have queen takes d5. Nice tactic.
Check.
With the fork winning gobs of material. So I played bishop b2 begrudgingly. He went bishop f6. I played rook c1, rook c8. Yeah, and this hinders my ability to play d5 now that the bishops are opposing each other. I played h4, just and thought for a little while, and I was grasping at something to do. And h4 is a helpful move, just gaining space and creating luft for the king as well. But I suspect if he just does something like knight a5, he's doing fine here. He can bring the knight into c4. His queen can come up to d7. Probably not e7 because of e5, but d7 looks like a good square. It's not so bad for white either, but it's completely playable for black, I believe. But instead he played knight takes d4, and it looks like I've been hoodwinked into losing a pawn, but in fact, based on the game continuation, this might just be bad. Yeah, because now if he takes with the queen, I take on d4, and I'm just going to be up a piece. So he has to insert knight takes f3.
Check.
Queen takes. Yeah, and I guess now you should play queen takes c8, abandoning the defense of the bishop. And kind of agreeing to play this position, which I would not have minded, especially after believing I might have blundered a pawn a few moves ago. Now his king is open. This should be better for white, for sure. He has a majority on the queen side, but his king being exposed is a bigger factor than any queen side majority. These pawns are not far enough advanced to make themselves felt yet. But he played bishop takes c8 now. Rook d1, trying to deflect his queen. And it looks like he just chose a poor square, queen e7. And it's poor for a couple reasons, bishop a3 and also e5. But mainly e5. Computer says his best chance is to give up his queen, play this position, which is clearly better for white. This is technically equal material. Like, he has a rook and bishop and an extra pawn against my queen. But the fact that there's material on both sides of the board and the ability of my queen to go around and attack his weaknesses, that's better than his rook, bishop, and pawn. They can't coordinate as well as my lone queen can. This might be holdable for black, I don't know, but like if you take away, I don't know, the a-pawns, for instance, I like black's chances a lot better there. Okay, let's go back. So rook d1, he played queen e7, and I get e5 in, and this is winning material. At the very least, black is losing a piece for insufficient compensation. A couple pawns. And here I have bishop a3, and everything's defended, so he can't go off attacking. Yeah, now just take the rook. Bishop b7, queen e2, and he resigned. Plus 11. Could play bishop a6 or something, but I'm very soon escaping the attacks, and both of our bishops are attacked, and I'm just up a rook. Over. Okay, I'm just going to check who this player is before I end the recording here. Alfonso Jerez. Jerez? Alfonso Jerez Perez. Has 3 names. He says, his second finger note. Pichonazo means Patzer in Spanish, and I honor my name. You guys get a good sense of humor. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back tomorrow with another Blitz game. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.